to the 11th episode of Low Key Track. I am DJV, your host. Been a minute since I posted an episode, and that's because I've been sort of tinkering with what direction to take this in. And I think what I've settled on is I'm going to utilize social media for stuff that I am listening to that I've never really listened to before, and music that is inherently new to me just because I've been in a bit of a pigeonhole over the course of my existence so far, and I want to keep that alive through social media. So go to Low Key Track on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube if you want to check that out. And I'm going to utilize the podcast format for stuff that I've been anticipating, loving, and wanting to listen to more of, just as a way to kind of tell you all music that I really enjoy, that I rather have been predisposed to enjoy from a younger age. And in case you are not big fans of these artists, I consider that sort of your also low-key track. So I'm going to kind of shift away from the least streamed song on an album and talk more about, albums that I've just been enjoying. And they could be low-key tracks to you. They might not be, in which case it is what it is. But in general, that's the kind of direction I want to take it. So that's where I'm going to put this out. So to kick off this new episode, I'm talking about one of my most anticipated albums ever since I heard it was announced, Let God Sort 'Em Out from Clipse. For those of you that don't know who Clipse is, they're a hip-hop group from Virginia Beach, and they came up in the late 90s, early 2000s with one Pharrell Williams. I'm sure a lot of people are aware of who Pharrell is now as a fashion guy, as a music producer, as a just general celebrity of influence in our world. And before Pharrell became Pharrell, he was a producer with groups like Clipse, and obviously with Chad Hugo as the Neptunes, who basically controlled all of 2000s music. So this is significant because it's Clipse's first album in 16 years, I think, just about. They're two brothers, Pusha T and Malice. I'm sure, hip-hop heads from the 2010s, or people that started getting into it, are aware of who Pusha T is because he's had a pretty prominent solo career. Well, prior to the prominent solo career and being the president of Good Music, he was part of this group with his older brother, Malice. Malice, of course, a big integral part of this group, and he did kind of not necessarily quit music, but try to do a little bit of a solo career, and also spent time being very focused on his faith and his religion. So he stepped away from music as part of his journey, and now he's back rapping with his brother, and they dropped this album. So I have been listening to this pretty much nonstop since it was released. I think I'm on my 5th or 6th listen through. Actually, probably more. I'm probably on 8th listen through at this point. But basically, this is just a straight rap album through and through. And for those of you that may be either have been big hip-hop fans over the past 15 years and have grown tired of the like the trap, melodic trap, sort of repetitive sound that seems to exist in a lot of mainstream hip-hop, this is not that. And in a way of it marketing itself as not that, it is now mainstream hip-hop again, which is kind of funny to me. So what this album is, I'm going to start with the first thing that immediately comes to my mind, and this is just as someone who's learning how to do this himself, the production. So Pharrell is producing all of the songs in this album. He does not have Chad Hugo with him, as the Neptunes are unfortunately no longer a producing duo. That's unfortunate. Hopefully they can work their issues out. But Pharrell is taking control of all production here. So he is a pioneer of that sort of 2000s Neptune sound. Well, he's the creator of that sound, I would say. And now a bunch of artists are basically doing like throwbacks to that 2000s Neptunes production, just because, well, millennials are now of that age to where things are now throwbacks, which is a lot of people think is kind of sad to think about. I think it's kind of beautiful to think about because aging and growing and just trying to be a better person is really, really nice when you think about it. And even if you aren't aren't part of the popular crowd of what's going on with younger people anymore, that's okay. There's still plenty of stuff out here for you, and especially in the age of the internet as it is now, we can find our own little cultures and niches that we can latch onto and continue to explore what makes this life so nice. But anyway, going back to it, Pharrell's production. So a big theme of this album is lots of different different cultural, religious samples, and there's nothing clear for that, then so be it. So the sample is from a Saudi Arabian musician named Talal Mada, and it's very, you hear, it's hip-hop and like Middle Eastern, South Asian music have had a really nice relationship with each other over the years, and it's no different here. This is a menacing beat in all ways, shapes, and forms, and I love it because Clipse's main thing is that their lyricism revolves around their upbringing, and their upbringing is very dark, very gritty, very focused on selling drugs, specifically cocaine. So it matches their personality very well. So the drums are like, the 808s are kind of reversed, which is really interesting, and it's got this like pulsating bass line along with that production from the sample in the background, and it's one of the best beats I think Pharrell has ever done, if I'm honest, and arguably the best song on the album, and these guys are going in on it. On top of that, another song I want to call out, Chains and Whips with Kendrick, straight up sounds like No Church in the Wild. It's got that booming bass. It's got that kind of like guitar bass line that's got a very menacing quality to it. That it does feel very reminiscent of No Church in the Wild. I feel like Pharrell listened to that song pretty heavily when he was making this beat, and it matches each artist perfectly. One thing that I think a lot of Clipse fans, I'm not going to call myself the biggest Clipse fans, they're definitely bigger Clipse fans than me, but one thing that I've noticed listening to this album, as well as going back and listening to their other projects, is that Malice crushes Pusha T on a lot of these songs, and it's no different here. He glides over this beat. Don't get me wrong, Pusha T is an incredible rapper in his own right, better than a lot of rappers that you see nowadays, but Malice is just on a different level here, and it's impressive. The other song that I really like is Mike Tyson, Blow to the Face. Does that like fast like drum thing that kind of keeps picking up, and like the beat feels very chaotic, and it feels like it's speeding up as they're going through their verses, and it's just a testament to how good Pharrell is, even at this point in time. It shows that creativity is not something you need to necessarily chase. Creativity is something you can manifest for yourself, and it's something that I'm trying to be better about. It's something that I hope you, if you're listening and you're creative, are trying to be better about. Just put that out there and just know that you've put something nice into the world, because for me, this life is about creation, and Pharrell is a prime example of this. So I do enjoy the production. It's one of my favorite parts in the album. I also really enjoy a lot of the storytelling, the lyricism, a lot of the quotables. So the album title itself, Let God Sort Them Out, it actually refers to an old Latin saying, which is kill them all, let God sort them out. And in relation to not only the lyrics on the album, but also kind of the cultural context around this, I think Clipse, even Tyler with his new album that just dropped today, Kendrick Lamar, I know J.I.D.'s dropping an album soon. Freddie Gibbs is also dropping an album soon. It feels like there's like a collection of artists that tend to skew a little bit older that are not necessarily what the kids are listening to sound like a boomer. That basically want to show everybody what hip-hop is about. And, you know, everything moves in cycles. Everything is very cyclical. So I think hip-hop has been on a bit of like a downward trajectory just in terms of quality output in the mainstream. And now Clipse with their legacy and with their kind of legend and aura built up, have put out this album as a way to saying, hold on, this is what hip hop is capable of, in case you forgot. Because I feel like now mainstream music has gone more country, which is cool. Like, everything runs in cycles. So now this is hip hop's attempt to be like, hold up, we're still here and we can still put out high quality stuff. And we can also remain relevant with people, even if we're no longer the age we once were. So that's really cool to me. One of my favorite parts of this is culturally inappropriate, which is tying into that overall theme, but also it's just a dope saying that I like. I quote it every so often, just randomly. Just, this is culturally inappropriate. It's great. I enjoy it a lot. Now, there's one particular verse that I'm going to call out here. It's on the first song, Birds Don't Sing. It's from Malice, and just to give you a sample of the kind of detail that goes into their storytelling and their imagery on this album. So the lyric is, and this is in reference to their father who has passed away. Mine taught discipline, mine taught structure. Mine didn't mind when he had to pull a double. Mine worked overtime, smiled through the struggle, because mine wouldn't let us feel when he had to suffer. See, mine made sure he had every base covered, so imagine his pain finding base in the cupboard. Immediately transported into just the life that they had to endure, how their dad, in an attempt to show that everything was fine in their life, put in the hours, put in a lot of work, just so his kids could have a life that they wanted, and it obviously broke their dad's heart when they found drugs in the house, just because Bush and Malice were engaging in that, and it's just a sample of the lyricism that Clipse is known for. And it's reflective of something that has been thoroughly missing in hip-hop music, I would think. Not necessarily to sound like a old head, per se, but it is something that has been being lauded right now, and I appreciate Clipse's contribution. So, getting into the numbers a little bit, I'm not going to focus too heavily on it, because I do think you can't base it all around numbers, but still, might as well at least talk about it. Over 100K in sales in their first week. Great marketing, like with their Tiny Desk, with the color show. Thoroughly enjoyed a lot of the rollout for this. And it's kind of opened up this market, and I feel like the music industry is going to go back to this, where we're going to have continuing to have like older rappers continue to prioritize their style of rap and their attempt to utilize production that has been timeless, but also keeping a little bit of a modern twist on it, I think, which is really nice, and you can hear very clearly with Pharrell on this album, where he has that 2000s production associated with him, that signature 4-count, all of the sounds that made Pharrell, but he's also adding a little bit of a modern twist on it, and basically showing a newer generation, like, hey, before you listen to what you listen to now, there was me, I am him. This is how we do things. And good music is timeless. Good music will live on. Ultimately, it's not about the numbers. It's about the cultural influence, and it's about can this resonate with generations to come. So I think Clipse has done a really good job here, and I definitely have tickets for their upcoming tour, so I'm super excited. My bigger question here is how hip-hop will kind of develop from this. I think we're gonna start to see a shift, perhaps towards more like 2000s inspired production, a renewed focus on lyricism over vibe, and a general route of we are fighting the system and not necessarily simply just being a part of it and stagnating. That's what I'm hoping for. What it remains to see, we'll find out. But anyway, this was my take on Let God Sort 'Em Out from Clipse. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully I convinced you to check out the album, because I do highly, highly, highly recommend it for anyone that maybe wants to get into rap but doesn't have a good place to start. This is a really good route to take it, where you have production that doesn't sound dated but also is also reminiscent of a peak era for hip hop production. You have lyricism that is very reminiscent of what makes this genre so great. And you have cultural context as well added to this, and you can see this just on the internet, however you consume your media. It is all there for you. So again, highly recommend this album to anybody who's looking for just good storytelling, good production, and there's other music that they have. I highly recommend their older albums as well. So definitely go from there. So appreciate you guys listening to the 11th episode of Low Key Track. Hope you guys like this. I'm going to continue utilizing this as a way to talk about albums that I've just been really excited for. My next one probably is going to be that Tyler, the Creator album that just dropped today at the time of this recording. So be on the lookout for that. This is available wherever you get your podcasts. Social media at Low Key Track, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. You can go on there, check out the episodes, check out some of the other content I put up there. And until next time, yellow diamonds look like pee-pee.